Hello and welcome to my Yu-Gi-Oh channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to make sure you get that Yu-Gi-Oh daily content. Today we're looking at the Sun Avalon archetype. I'm not familiar with it. I think it was used in Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, which was the 6th season of the anime, and it was used by a particular character. So these are going to be link-centric cards, as a forewarning anyway. The first card is Sunseed Genius Loki. It's a level 1 Earth plant normal monster with 0 attack and 600 defense. It's not much to say about it. The flavor text is it's a seed that can be harvested from the sacred tree once every 1,000 years. It is said to become the guardian spirit of its land after a millennium. Okay, so what's interesting about that is the fact that it being a link type of deck means actually having a normal monster isn't that big of a deal. You know, it's not the worst thing in the world to have. The next card is Sunavalon Maiden. It's a level 1 Earth attribute plant effect monster with 0 attack and 0 defense. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. 1. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a plant monster you control that was special summoned from the extra deck as a quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, negate that effect. 2. Your opponent cannot target Sun Avalon and Sunavalon spell or trap cards you control with card effects. The good thing about this card is if you have a plant monster already on the field, Yeah, so the good thing about this effect is actually you're able to protect your cards a little bit better, because you're going to be having your plant type monsters that are link monsters, so they came from the extra deck, and this basically shuts down those effects, which is good because those will be your main line of defense and also your boss monsters. The secondary effect to protect your spell and trap cards is also decent, but of course that just makes this a big target. They're obviously going to attack into this beforehand. Depending on how the spell and trap cards go, as I read them, that actually might not be a problem because they might be able to in turn protect this card. The next card is Sunseed Shadow. It's a level 1 Earth attribute plant type effect monster with 0 attack and 400 defense. You can only use this card's name's first and second effects once per turn each. 1. If you control a plant normal monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. 2. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one of your linked 2 or lower Sun Avalon or Sunavalon monsters. You cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn, except plant monsters. Also special summon one monster with the same name from your extra deck, but its effects are negated. So the thing is, if you summon the normal monster that was above, you're able to instantly bring this card out, or you could actually just bring out a normal plant monster. There's plenty of those around, and then you can actually go into a link 2 immediately with those cards. Or what you can do is, once you've used up this card, you're then able to use the secondary effect to recover one of your link 2 or lower link monsters, and you're actually then able to special summon another one from the extra deck. And so the whole thing is you're building up your field in order to bring out some of your stronger and higher link monsters. Sunseed Twin is a level 2 Earth attribute plant effect monster with 0 attack and 800 defense. You can only use this card's name's first and second effects once per turn each. 1. If this card is normal or special summoned and you control a Sun Avalon link monster, you can target one level 4 or lower plant normal monster in your graveyard and special summon it. 2. You can banish this card from your graveyard and one link monster you control. If there are 2 or more plant link monsters with the same name in your graveyard, you can special summon one of them. The point of this card is, again, it just helps you bring out extra card advantage to be able to go into further link monsters or strengthen your existing link monsters to provide a little bit more field presence. The secondary effect of it is your chances are you're going to have some of the smaller link monsters, maybe multiple of them, in the graveyard. Bringing them back means, again, you can go into further link monsters if you want to. Okay, so this is the first of the link monsters. This is Sunavalon Dryas. It's a Link 1 Earth attribute plant link effect monster with 0 attack, and the link point is at the bottom. It requires as its material 1 level 4 or lower plant monster, and the effect is if this card is linked summoned to the extra monster zone by using Sunseed Genius Loki as material, you can add 1 Sunvine spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. 2, it can't be targeted for attacks, but does not prevent your opponent from attacking you directly. And 3, once per turn, if you take battle or effect damage, you can gain an equal amount of life points, and if you do, special summon 1 Sunvine monster from your extra deck. This card is amazing. It reminds me a little bit of the Earthbound Immortals, as they can't be attacked, but you can still attack directly if they're on the field. And there aren't any other cards out. It does mean it's not so much of a target. It's especially good as it has no attack points. And even so long as you use it from Genius Loki, you're able to just search any of your spell or traps for the archetype. It does also provide you with life point protection. So if your opponent then tries to attack you with a 3000 attack monster, so long as you have the amount of life points necessary to protect yourself from that attack, it just comes back anyway, so it's effectively similar to negating attack. It's not as good, but it's not bad either. And then from there, you're able to punish your opponent by bringing out a Sunvine monster from your extra deck. This helps to kind of support how the deck likes to work. The next card is Sunavalon Dryades. It's a Link 2 Earth attribute plant link effect monster with 0 attack, and its links are at the bottom left and the bottom right. It requires 2 plant monsters, including a Sunavalon link monster. 1, it cannot be targeted for attacks, but does not prevent your opponent from attacking you directly. I'm sensing a theme here. They must all have that effect. Considering it has 0 attack, I can understand that. And 2, up to twice per turn. If you take battle or effect damage, you can gain an equal amount of life points, and if you do, special summon 1 Sunvine monster from your extra deck. Okay, I see the point of this deck. It's just to infuriate your opponent. If they cannot get the life point damage in, or it keeps getting recovered and then you're able to stall them out, your opponent is going to become increasingly frustrated, lose resources, and you will probably have other cards within the deck to support the archetype that can remove or do things to, just destroy or mess around with your opponent until they either deck out themselves or they lose some of the most vital cards for you to be able to just finish them off. Seems like more of a grind game style of archetype from my initial thoughts. And we've got Sunavalon Dryas. It's a Link 3 Earth attribute plant link effect monster with 0 attack, and the links are the bottom left, the bottom, and the bottom right. So everything of these link monsters is pointing to your side of the field, which is brilliant. I hated when they pointed to your opponent because it just means that in the previous Master Rule, that helped them as well. In this case, it's not going to make too much of a difference. The materials are 2 or more plant monsters. The first effect cannot be targeted for attacks, but does not prevent your opponent from attacking you directly. Same as the other 2 link monsters. Second effect, up to thrice per turn. If you take battle or effect damage, you can gain an equal amount of life points, and if you do, special summon that 1 Sunvine monster from your extra deck. That's just so annoying. You're essentially just able to wall up 3 times with this one, 2 with the previous one, and 1 with the other time. And so you're constantly having that card advantage, and it's got a third effect, which is brilliant as well. Once per turn, when a monster this card points to is targeted for an attack, you can negate that attack, and if you do, move the attack target to another of your main monster zones. It also negates attacks there. Even if it's once per turn, that has got to be absolutely infuriating. And the thing is that this isn't a this is a once per turn for this card. It's not a hard once per turn. So if you've got multiple of this, you can potentially negate 3 attacks if you want. I still don't see the benefits of this archetype as of yet, but I'm sure I'll get kind of the understanding of it as I just go down. Okay, so we've got another boss, a bigger boss monster, this one. Sunavalon Trenti. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's a Link 4 Earth Plant type Link effect monster with 0 attack, and the link points are the top, the bottom left, the bottom, and the bottom right. And it requires, in this case, 2 or more link monsters. Okay, so unlike the other ones that needed the plant type monsters, this one actually requires link monsters, so you're going to have to use a couple of your previous link monsters in order to bring this card out. One, if this card is link summoned, you can add 1 Sunavalon spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. It's a consistent search, even if it's just you summon this card, you've got access to some kind of protection or whatever those spell and traps do. Second effect cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Also, it cannot be targeted for attacks, but does not prevent your opponent from attacking you directly. This is even more annoying to deal with because actually you're not able to respond to this at all. At least with the other cards, you could use spell or trap or monster effects. This, you have to be very specific on what you use to be able to get rid of this. Banishing based cards, things like that will actually work a lot better. But, there is a little bit more flexibility with how this card likes to work. And the third effect, once per turn, you contribute 1 link monster this card points to. Destroy cards your opponent controls up to the attributed monster's link rating. So this punishes your opponent for actually the cards you have. If you've got one of your link 3s, that's 3 cards, and it's not specific to face-up cards, face-down cards, monsters cards, spell or traps. It's absolutely anything your opponent controls up to the number of cards that you've gotten rid of. So providing the advantage means you can actually annoy the opponent to begin with, and then you're actually able to kind of start working it against and destroying their deck. Okay, so now we've got another set of cards. These are the Sunvines. So this must be like a sub-archetype, if I'm thinking correctly. Sunvine Gardener is a Link 1 Earth Plant Link monster at 600 attack, and the link point is at the top. It requires 1 plant normal monster. 1, if a Sunavalon Link monster you control leaves the field by card effect, destroy this card. 2, when an attack is declared involving this card, linked to a Sunavalon Link monster, and an opponent's monster, you can activate this effect, half the battle damage you take from that battle. And 3, when this card is destroyed of a battle, you can activate this effect, end the battle phase after the end of the damage step. My opinion on this is it's a bit meh. The fact this card just destroys itself if you lose a Sunavalon monster isn't great. The second effect, halving the battle damage, that in certain cases that could be okay. It's not the best, and of course, although I do love the final bit of the effect, because if this card is run over, your opponent loses the rest of their battle phase. I don't think they go, if they know anything about this archetype, they wouldn't target this first. It's probably be the last card they'd attack into, assuming that you've got a full field, but, some people don't read the cards and potentially could just attack and end their turn. Next card is Sunvine Healer. It's a Link 1 Earth attribute plant type Link effect monster with 600 attack. Again, the link point is at the top, and it needs 1 plant monster, normal monster, in order to summon it. 1, if a Sunavalon Link monster you control leaves the field by card effect, you destroy this card. It's the same as the other one. The other one was by battle. This is by card effect. 2, if this card is special summoned, you can target 1 Sunavalon Link monster on the field, gain life points equal to its link rating times 300. So potentially you could be gaining up to 1,200 life points with the link 4. 3, when your plant link monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can gain 600 life points. None of the other Sun Avalons have any attack points. It's only these, the Sun Vines. So I'm hoping there are some more powerful ones, because that way you're actually able to kind of heal up a bit more. Okay, so we've got Sunvine Thrasher. This is a Link 1 Earth Plant Link effect monster with 800 attack, and the link point is at the bottom. Again, it needs 1 plant normal monster to summon it. 1, if a Sun Avalon Link monster you control leaves the field by card effect, destroy this card. It's not really much of an effect. 2, if this card is special summoned, you can target 1 Sun Avalon monster on the field. This card gains attack equal to its link rating times 800. That is amazing. I was really underestimating this archetype until I read that effect. The fact all it needs for this card is 1 monster to summon it is amazing. If you get the link 4 one, if you have that out, this becomes a 4,000 attack monster. Even the others, okay, even, at worst case scenario, you only get the link 1. It's still a 1,600 attack monster. And that was amazing. That is such a good card. The third effect, when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon that monster to your zone and link monster points to, but its effects are negated. Okay, that's not bad. You could go into other link monsters, and it's a bit like it's a bit of a snatch steal, but it does shut down their effects. I don't think that's bad. I think this card is amazingly good, and actually, if you're able to trigger that effect multiple times, it's that much better for it. But really, that last card is, I've got to say, is really good, and I can understand what they're trying to do with this archetype now. The next card is the continuous spell card, Sunvine Shrine. Activate this card by sending 1 card from your hand to the graveyard while you control a Sun Avalon Link monster. 1, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except plant monsters. 2, once per turn, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower not plant normal monster from your graveyard. And 3, once per turn during your opponent's end phase, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard, then target 1 continuous trap card in your graveyard and set it to your spell and trap zone. The first effect does lock you into plant monsters, but that's what the archetype does. It's not a big deal that you're doing it. The recovery of the plant normal monster is necessary to actually build up your resources to go into your link monsters, so consistently being able to do that is always a good thing. And the final part of the effect actually gives it a graveyard effect that, if your opponent gets rid of it, you can punish them by bringing that continuous trap card back. And speaking of which, here is the continuous trap itself, Sun Avalon Bloom. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. You can only use this card's name's second effect once per turn. 1, when this card is activated, if you control a Link 4 or higher plant Link monster, you can negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls. 2, if your plant Link monster battles during damage calculation, you can make it gain attack equal to the total attack of all monsters it points to until the end of this turn. This card is absolutely going to wreck people. You are able to shut down all of your opponent's monsters by just having that Link 4 out there. It's really easy to bring it out with so much consistent support for it. And that means your opponent is actually stopped from really doing anything. A lot of plays are done with monster effects as opposed to spell or trap cards. Spells are used as well, but actually if you can get certain cards out, you can shut those down relatively easily. The other thing about having your plant link monsters gaining attack equal to the total of the ones that they point to is if you can get them in the right order, they could be multiple thousands of attack points with protection around them. This makes the archetype very worth running, in my opinion, and I am absolutely sorry for not for doubting the effectiveness of this archetype. Considering I've never seen them before or how they interact, I think this is amazing. I definitely think for a plant archetype, it could be one of the more popular options. Whatever you think of this archetype, leave your comments down below. Have you seen them before? Do you know how they play? Is this something you're a fan of? Or do you think this is going to be a very annoying deck, a bit like... For me, I compare them a little bit like Time Lords. They're really annoying to get over and get rid of. Once you've got multiple of them dealing with, it's just a headache. Leave your comments down below, like the video if you enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe. All the support is much appreciated.